What's up, folks? It is Wednesday, the 11th of March. Thanks for coming over to talk a little NBA DFS, Draftkings style. Clearly, we are back up on the main channel, guys. Pleased as punch about it. Please give the video the thumbs up. Help us respread around YouTube so we can get some of the people who used to watch us every day back who wondered where we went the last 2 weeks. Also, and very, very importantly, there is a link to the backup channel down below. If you haven't done that already, if you're not subscribed to that one, please go there. In case anything like this ever happens again, that's where you can find us. We'll also be doing sports betting videos on that link as well, or on that channel. So that's that. Let's get into it.
Let's get this, man. Interesting slate tonight with a lot of question marks already.
It always is, especially this time of the year. I mean, NBA DFS is crazy to begin with, but this time of the year, people getting ready for the playoffs and stuff like that, it just gets nuts.
I'm hyped for baseball, man. You just don't have to worry about this stuff, and you can actually set your lineups early.
I know. NBA DFS is like a full-time job. I was playing basketball last Monday with a buddy of mine who's actually in one of our groups, and he was telling me he quit playing like a month ago. He's like, I just can't deal with it anymore. It's like a full-time job between 4 and 6 o'clock at night.
It really is. And then even past that, depending on how much you're playing for, how many lineups you have, it's annoying.
Definitely. So again, we want to give a shout out to the Overlay customer service. Everybody remembers how bad Monday night was. All sorts of crazy things happened. They refunded money to people whose out of bounds matchups didn't make sense. That's great customer service. It's one of the things that they pride themselves over on. Now, the other thing that we keep harping on, and I know you are on a hot run over there today. So stay tuned to the Overlay video today. Get the Bellman's picks. You'll ride the hot hand when you have it. I think you're on like a 4 or 5 straight day heater over there. You said you played in the $22 contest 4 times last night and cashed 3 of them. So that's putting in $88 and getting out $540.
Exactly. And it's like almost that feeling now. And obviously this will probably end today, but like I feel comfortable with it. Like I'm in a zone. So I'm excited to do it tonight. You know how that goes.
And statistically, me being a facts over fiction type of guy, it doesn't make sense. Like there is no reason that just because you won yesterday, you're going to win today. But you as like a guy who really believes in those roller coaster rides, like you love just put it on the line when you're hot like this, right?
Yeah, and even you, who's much more facts and much more mathematically inclined, still part of you like knows that in life, in sports, like there is something called momentum.
True. I don't really think it carries over this way in DFS, but doesn't mean it doesn't feel that way. I know I told you how it like would affect poker games back in the day. When you're constantly getting bad beats, you play worse. Here, maybe it could be that same type of a thing. When you're constantly winning, you feel better about confidently taking your shot on somebody at low ownership.
But you're 100% right, though. Like, yesterday's results have nothing to do with today's results. 100% agreed there.
Well, it's like if you flip a coin and 10 times in a row it's heads, the 11th time it's still 50-50.
100%. It's the same type of analogy, and that's math, so I have no argument for you there.
All right, before we get into today's plays of the day, guys, just reiterate, in honor of getting back up on the main channel, we ran the 5-pack deal of the day. These are as good of the deals as we're going to offer. Baseball's coming up a couple of days away or a couple of weeks away. Today, we will continue to run this one. It's a $100 rebate to lifetime customers, all available through the website. Anybody who signs up for a monthly membership today, which is $30 a month, you get 20 of it back. So basically, you get the next month for $10. You'll be up and running for baseball season. $60 rebate off of annual. Get in where you fit, and baseball season's almost here. Let Matt try to help you get some of those big wins that he's famous for.
Yeah, I'm pumped for baseball. I'm pumped for Overlay baseball. We're getting into a real nice time of the year.
All right, so let's talk about some of the DK picks of the day, guys, and let's start out with Mike Conley of the Utah Jazz. So I'll start by saying Utah, Oklahoma City. This isn't what I would call a crush spot for Conley. I don't think it's the worst matchup in the world, but I wouldn't call it a crush spot. What I like about Conley, and even if you just want to simplify it down to, say, his last 10 to 15 games, look at his best scores. They're not in the crush spots, the Washingtons and Atlantas of the world and stuff like that. He does well against other good teams because that's the type of player that he is. His best games have come against other playoff teams, other good teams. If you take out the one stinker that he had that one really, really bad game. He's averaging approximately 32 DK points per game over the past 9, which is about how I view him these days. Still priced at $5,500. He's a very good basketball player for somebody priced under $5,500. Now, because of Joe Ingles and Donovan Mitchell, he's not going to be an 8K guy because they got other guys that can kind of run the offense and you can do things with. But you got a very nice spot on the team right now who is gearing up for the playoffs. continuing to get him acclimated with his new team. He's going to play bigger minutes tonight. He's a wonderful backcourt defender. And when you're going up against Schroeder, Alexander, and Chris Paul, you need his defense out there. No end of a back-to-back. I think Conley plays another good, solid run of minutes tonight and goes out there and just continues to do what he does, which is, stuff the stat sheet with some three-pointers, steals, points, and things like that. I just think he's a solid player for about 30 points tonight.
Yeah, he's a cog in the machine type. He looks good here. This game doesn't scream DFS upside, but should be a competitive game. Both teams play hard. Starters to play a ton of minutes, playoff type game here. These teams could meet in the playoffs. There's a lot to like about him here. I know he's projected highly, and it makes sense.
Yeah, we like to talk about the difference between some NBA players. Like, we like Jimmy Butler in spots that don't make sense, right? Because against good teams where he needs to take over. Mike Conley isn't quite the same guy, but he's got that same type of dog mentality where he plays his best basketball against other good teams. So this isn't a game that screams TFS stack or anything like that, but he's the type of fellow that I like him with the ball in his hand in this type of game.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so point guard number 2 for the day is going to be your boy De'Aaron Fox. I know you like him a lot tonight. What I like about him is the first point right here. This guy is so consistent. He just rarely has a bad game.
Yeah, he's so consistent, and I think this is an upside spot for him going up against Lonzo Ball, who he's had a little bit of a thing with since they were in college. He's played really well against him in the pros. Another good spot for him here after a tough game for Sacramento. They've had a couple days off now. I like that a lot. They're well rested. This game does scream DFS upside. I think both sides have pieces firmly in play. The Sacramento side I like more, though. The New Orleans side has better players and there's more of an established pecking order, but Sacramento's in a better spot. I think this game's really competitive. I'm not even sure who wins. I wouldn't be surprised either way. I like Fox a lot in this spot. I like him so much that I actually, as you know, had another guy given to you, but I wanted to change it because I think Fox at under 8K just looks really good for me here.
So you said you think it's a competitive game. I agree. Vegas projections agree. This should be a competitive game. These are two teams who are not technically out of it. In fact, they're both, excuse me, they're both trying their hardest to get up to that A seed in the West. So expect good, solid performances here. These are not teams that are looking to rest guys. They need every win they can get. This game is very important for both teams tonight because both teams have playoff aspirations. It would be a big deal for both of these teams to get into that A seed. So expect Fox to play a good, solid run of minutes. And New Orleans ranks at the bottom of the league against point guards this year, which never hurts.
Agreed, all the way around.
All right, so I want to double up from this game. Same team, same game, different position, and talk about Harrison Barnes, a guy who I think one of the problems with Harrison Barnes is because he's not the guy who wins GPPs. And if you watch the Kings play, he doesn't like jump off your TV screen. Dude consistently just gets underappreciated within the DFS realm. He's a veteran presence on the team who continues to look to push for that A seed. We know the Pelicans are one of the better matchups in all the DFS due to pace of play and lack of defense. Barnes is another guy, very solid stat sheet filler. He does a little bit of everything. So if his shot's off, hey, he can still pull in 8 boards and grab 3 assists. He's got 23.5 DK points in 9 or more, obviously, in 9 to 10. He always plays big minutes, which is something I love. I hate guys. You saw it on the Knicks last night. They have nothing to play for. They played crappy the first 3 minutes of the game. Complete line change, almost hockey style. The Sacramento Kings play Harrison Barnes big minutes every single game. Forward position isn't overly strong today, so you can play him at either one, and he's just another type of filler piece.
Yeah, I like him a lot here. I know you wanted to say COG, and he is a COG type piece. He's 5K. He's very affordable. I like all your points here. The other thing I like here is that he has 2 really good games against New Orleans this year. So while we're not playing him because of that, certainly don't mind that he put up 40 both times against them this year.
I didn't even look at that, but it sure as hell doesn't talk me out of him. All right,
yeah, exactly.
Let's move along to Bamalam Adebayo. Before we get into some of the reasons that you're going to like or why people should like him. So here's my question for you. What's your feeling on Butler playing today?
I don't think he plays.
Okay, I'm with you. If I had to make a bet on this one, I would definitely bet on him trending towards not playing. 1, they could definitely beat Charlotte without Jimmy Butler. 2, he's a guy who takes a big every game for him is stressful because he does so much for this team. So any rest you can get him and get him healthy for the playoffs because he's your MVP, I think you need it. So I think Butler is out. And that makes me like Bam more for 2 reasons. 1, Bam is a great passer out of the low post. 5 assists per game says it all right there. So he can help run the offense. Also, it just gives a better opportunity for this game to be competitive. Miami's clearly better than Charlotte. They're the home team. But with no Jimmy Butler, I like the idea of Charlotte, who seems to be fighting, giving us a nice competitive game right here.
Speaking of Charlotte playing competitive, they've covered or pushed, and the last game was a push in double overtime. It's 7 straight games, including games against Milwaukee in there. They beat Toronto. They're playing good ball right now. Like, obviously, Miami's better, and they're going to win this game. But especially if Butler doesn't play, I think this game is competitive. This is just an absolute crush spot for Bam. I used him the other night. It was the night that I liked him. You like Porzingis a little bit more. Bam was just average throughout the entire game and then exploded late when they needed it. The game was really tight. Bam went off late. I love him to carry that momentum and do an even better spot against Charlotte here. He's got triple-double upside tonight. I know that he's not a guy that gets you 60-plus often, but I think this is the night he can get there. More than fine paying $9K for him. I love him tonight.
No end of a back-to-back here either, which is just kind of the same thing for Conley, which I love, man. If you can give me guys, like I was looking at the Knicks guys this morning because they're playing Atlanta. The problem is they are on the tail end of a back-to-back. And while Atlanta's a good spot, there's no established pecking order right here. Here, this is a crush spot for Bam, especially if Butler is out. But there's no end of a back-to-back to worry about. It was just another reason to kind of, another feather in the cap for why you might want to play him. And I was watching Charlotte the other night when we recommended Dedmon for everybody, and he was awesome for his time out there in the court, despite fouling out. And we know that the Hornets have been absolutely crushed by bigs all year. And the big thing I noticed in that game is whether it's Zeller or Biyombo, clearly Hernan Gomez is not a thing for the next couple of games, which, again, is funny because we brought that up the other day and they switched it again. They're just consistently out of position. How many times did Dedmon get just a free shot at the basket because Zeller and Bismack are just not where they're supposed to be?
Yeah, I'm just going to school them here. I love him in this spot. I wonder how much love he's going to get.
That was my question because we talk about this too a lot. That $9K price tag,
yeah,
while it's not substantially more than 8,400 or 8,600, we're only talking about like a hoop and a rebound. Does that talk people out of him? Now, at this point of the NBA DFS season, the NBA public is very smart. They know the crush spots. Everybody knows Charlotte gets crushed by big guy. But will that $9K price tag talk people out of him? It probably depends on if Butler plays or doesn't play or when it gets announced. I'm very curious to see what his ownership is tonight.
Same, because you've also, now that he's 9K, you've got Jokic like in the same. Jokic is also in the 9Ks. People love playing Jokic. I'm really interested to see this because he got love last time against Washington, but he was far from like chalky. I think he was like 18%, which is.
Yeah, I thought I saw him in the 20s in cash games, so pretty
okay.
Sad.
So, like, that makes sense. Close to 25 probably in cash games, like 18 in tournaments. For a crush spot that he was in against Washington, that's not chalky at all.
No. For how big was the slate that night?
I can't remember, man. Honestly,
they all blend together at this point. Yeah, either way. You get the point here. Bam-a-lam Adebayo. Get him in your lineups, guys. If you haven't done it yet already, the thumbs up is always appreciated. Great opportunity to join the 5-pack today. We got lots of good deals up for people. I will get you your rebates within 24 hours. 24 minutes is more realistic. I get on top of those things right away. We got baseball season trending real close. Come watch the overlay video coming up soon because, Bellman's on a heater right now. Let's ride that hot wave.
Yeah, so that slate that Bam was on was Sunday, actually. So it's a few days ago now. I like that he's had a couple of days off. And it was a pretty big slate. Someone was that was the Baines day.
Okay.
So it took
I always like guys, especially effort guys and hustle guys like Bam after a couple days off at this point of the season.
Oh, yeah.
Your legs get tired, man, and it just becomes harder and harder to produce. Like I told you, like I took the longest run I've took in years on Sunday, and then I lifted legs yesterday at the gym, and like I realized I'm not a well-conditioned athlete like these guys, but like at this time of the year, all their legs are tired. And a couple of days off like that, I was really thinking about it this morning as I got out of bed, and I was crying like an old man because it hurt. Like these dudes put so much stress onto their bodies that when they can get a couple of days like off like that to recoup, especially after playing 60-some hard-fought NBA games this year, that's huge for a guy like that, even a young man like himself.
Love it.
Absolutely. All right, guys, thanks a lot. Have a great day.
Thank you.